What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about my failed Geomax story, and man, this is going to be a good one. So sit down, strap in, grab some popcorn, and get ready. And I think we're going to learn some stuff today too. I know I certainly learned some stuff. So all day I have pretty much just been like waiting to tell this story, just trying to get done with work so that I can just get this out and kind of just clear my head and tell someone about this because I don't really have anyone to tell this. And yeah, I mean, that's just a life, right? That's just a life, you know. Uh, don't really have anyone to tell this to, and nobody really cares, and nobody would want to listen, and anyone that would listen would literally just use a story against me and just make fun of me and make me feel like an idiot. Um, Man, today has been rough though, and it was rough yesterday. I mean, I was just like so mortified when this happened, and all day today I just been, just wanted to literally like lay down and do nothing, but I had to be at work, and I literally like just wanted to like die, literally like all day, and just get this over with. And man, I'm just glad that I could finally tell this story, and glad that the day is done and everything. I'll still probably like work out. Um, you know, I still got to get, you know, leaner. I'm pretty lean already, but I don't know. I mean, there's always a little bit more you can do, and you really just the competition is so steep now. You really kind of have to just be super leaned out, for for you to like get anything really. I think ultimately, and yeah, I mean, just the more time that I have to get lean, the more time that I'm gonna use that time to get lean, and hopefully, whenever I do eventually Geomax, I'll be my leanest ever, and well, I pretty much already am my leanest ever. I don't know, it's hard to think. There have been two other times in my life where I've been very lean, but if it wasn't leaner than this, it was like very close to being this lean. So this is pretty much the most lean I've ever been. Um, and I'm just going to get leaner from here. But that aside, let's kind of get into the story. So, um, you know, geomaxing. So basically, the plan, uh, the plan was to go to Canada, and drive and I don't know. I have never left the country, um, and I want to kind of go take a flight eventually, but it's just like I'm doing it alone and I've never done it. And I don't really know what the process is. And I don't really have anyone that really I know that could help, honestly. Um, so I figure, why not just like drive and kind of just do that as kind of just a test run, see what the process is like, see if I'm even able to get into the country, or if not. And man, I tell you, man, it was crazy. Um, but yeah, so that's what I did. I ended up driving, and it was hours. The drive. It was all day driving, just to get there, and just sitting in my car, literally doing nothing for hours on end, just killing time trying to get to this country, and yeah, basically just drinking energy drinks and driving, and that's it. Listening to some music, and that's about it. Um, but I finally. Oh, and not to mention going through the cities, man. Like I swear, dude, people just like cut you off out of nowhere, and it's like Oh man, sometimes you just like freak out over that, man. And yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I finally kind of got there, and I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I researched this a little bit before I went. I watched some videos and read up on the country's like official website, and they basically said, if you're a U.S. citizen, all you need is your passport, and that was like it. And I was like, okay, like that's like really simple. It's almost like not even going to another country. Like I think this should be pretty good, and I'll probably learn a lot by just kind of going through this process. And it seemed fairly straightforward. So I kind of just went and I brought like a suitcase with some clothes. I brought like, my computer, and I kind of just bought like fast food on the way and stuff like that. And I got my passport and my license and just like, some cards or whatever. And hmm, yeah, I mean, that was it basically. And then I finally get to it and I pay the toll um, on the American side. And then it's kind of like a bridge or whatever, bridge to Canada. And I'm going, and then there's another essentially like toll booth kind of thing, but this time it's not really a toll booth. This time it's like immigration, and so uh, I mean, again, I didn't know what I was really doing or getting myself into. I didn't know any of the like requirements, and man, so I pull up to the thing, and the lady's like asking me these questions, and I just didn't really expect to like get asked so many questions because the YouTube video I watched, literally like the guy just hands the dude the passport, and he didn't even like say anything. Like literally said nothing in the video, and I was like, what? I was like, they didn't even ask the guy like anything. It was crazy. It just looked so much easier than what actually happened. The lady was asking me these questions. She's like, "What are you here for?" And I just said the dumbest response. I was like, something, oh, just like testing something out, and I'm just so dumb. I swear. Like I kind of framed it like I was there on business, but like you know, it wasn't like I knew what I was talking about, and I was being vague. And then so she didn't like my answer, and she was like, how long are you here for? I was like, oh, I don't know, like a day or a week, just depending. And yeah, so it was like basically from there, I was screwed from the get go, honestly. And they didn't even like want to help me. I honestly feel like they were just like messing with me for like entertainment purposes. Cause it's like, look, well, the guy that ended up started questioning me like further down the line, I'll get to it. But it's like, okay, he told me he's been doing this like longer than I've been alive. It's like, okay, if that's the case, then like why wouldn't you want to just kind of like move this along and like help a brother out? And like, no, you have to literally like act insane and like gaslight me. It was so ridiculous. Um, but yeah, so the lady's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to talk to immigration and pull over and go over there." And I was like, "Oh no!" Like, of course, of course, it's not that easy. And then so I drive over there and I park the car. Some guys get out, like, I don't even remember what they said. But they told me to like park or whatever, and then get out of the vehicle and walk into the building. And so I walk in the building, and literally like no one's in there, and I just walk up to the line, the front of the line. There's literally no one there. I was like, okay, like whatever, waiting, empty waiting room. You know what I mean? Like, seems pretty chill. It should be fine. And you know, there's these two guys, and they kind of like do a back and forth a little bit. And then like the one guy's like, oh, it's oh, it's mine or whatever, because the person probably like did some sort of call like, oh, you gotta be tough on this guy, on this fucking on this inkwell. You got to be tough on him. Um, jeez. But um, so this guy, um, he was the biggest hard ass, dude, for no reason at all. Like, I mean, I'm just like a normal looking guy, you know, and I told him like, look, I haven't really, you know, done this before, and just like kind of here, and whatever, um, just kind of coming in, and I mean, like the dude was such a dick, like literally, like I was trying to be polite. I was like, yes, sir, and he's like, oh, don't give me that sir stuff. Don't call me that. So and he was like cutting me off and like mid sentence and like just being a total dick, and it's like, dude, like what is your deal? I don't know. He's like over here trying to catch like, the next cartel leader or something. It's like, bro, like it's not that serious. Like I don't know what that was about, but he's like cutting me off and like, no, don't call me sir, and I'm not. Oh, and here's the thing, like when someone, here's how he started the conversation. He was like, I'm not. Look, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, and I'm not playing any games here. And it's like, from the get go, when someone says that cliche BS, when someone drops the line of one of those cliche lines like that, like, oh, I'm not playing any games here, that's when like, the entire thing is a game. Like, literally, the whole thing is BS. That's a line. Everything he's doing is a line. You know what I mean? Everything he's saying is purposeful and totally on purpose. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it was. I mean, if you watch any like police interrogation videos, he was basically like doing that to me for like no reason. And he was doing a terrible job. He wasn't building rapport. He was just being a dick. And it's like, look, I want to answer your questions, buddy, but like you're making it impossible because you're being an asshole and you're cutting me off and acting like I'm not answering the question when your questions are super open-ended and vague, and like I don't even know what he wanted me to answer. Like, oh, what are you doing? What are you here for? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just want to like visit or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's just not good enough, and it's like everything I was saying is just not good enough. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you want from me, dude. Like, literally, like that was more towards the end. I mean, this was like 30-hour, 2-hour, 3-hour process. I was like getting questions, sit down, come back, answer another couple questions. And he's like, oh, I did a background check, and it looks like you don't have any like nothing, whatever, whatever with the law, or you don't have any whatever, whatever. I was like, yeah. I was like, what? And you know, he's like, "Oh, you're lying to me," and he made me like read like this piece of paper that's like, the law or whatever. It's like, oh, if you lie or lie of omission, it's like $100,000 fine. And so then he's like using that and all this other BS, dude. It's like, dude, come on, just like he was totally not upfront about this and like was being so deceitful and vague about like every question he was asking. It's like, dude, just like tell me what you want. Like, what do you want? It's like all he had to do was say like, hey, like, to be entered into the country, you're gonna need like, since you're driving and not flying with the all inclusive thing, because I was like, look, I've never done this before. I've never left the country. Like, I don't really know how this works. And he's like, don't, if I hear you say that one more time. And it's like, dude, what is your deal, bro? I'm just saying, like, I need, I don't know what I'm kind of doing here. Like, you're the guy that's been doing this for 20, 30 years or whatever. Like, maybe you can help me out. But he didn't want to. So, yeah, I mean, if he said something like, hey, we need to know, like, when we need, like, a hard date of when you're coming and when you're leaving, and we need to understand that, like, you know, you're either you're a tourist or whatever, or business, because I really didn't understand like a business, how that really worked. And when it kind of comes down to it, it's probably not really like I don't know, like Probably in most cases it's just personal. Like, I don't know, I'm just visiting, just want to. And he's like, oh, and if someone's visiting, they're gonna have like a list of restaurants and landmarks they want to see, and you don't even have any of that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know, just wanted to see the city, I guess, and whatever. And I don't really even have a hotel yet, and like, yeah, I mean, I just didn't know that because like usually when I travel, I just kind of like go and figure it out when I'm there. You know what I mean, stuff like that. And so I guess basically like the main thing, why he was like grilling me so hard is because like they don't want like people coming into their country and just like living there rent free basically and like being a hobo or whatever. So they want to know that you have money to like pay for being a tourist and that you have income, and they want to make sure you have this sort of insurance as well or something, so in case something happens, because they have like public health care or something like that. And then I guess they also wanted to make sure that I wasn't like doing some sort of drug related deal or something. And it was just so it was just like a monkey show, literally, like honestly. um but yeah, it gets even better because not only did he like have me come up and he asked me like a billion questions, and was like everything every time I answered he was just pissed off. um Eventually he called over like two other officers or whatever, and one of them was the one that was at like the gate initially, and the other one was like some random guy. And then they basically like searched my car, which I mean, I get it. I guess I don't know. Maybe they were like searching for drugs or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. It's not the end of the world, I guess. But like, it's just kind of a lot. Like, you know what I mean, dude? I'm just trying to come through and see what happens, and I mean just doing the thing, like whatever. And yeah, I mean none of that is good enough, I suppose. Um, so yeah, they search my car and go through all my stuff, and um, then when they come back, they're like, "Oh, I need you to take everything out of your pockets and take your shoes off and pull your shirt up and show me." And you know, uh, yeah, so they literally like checked me in every possible way on top of that. And I'm just like, geez, these guys are like, they're thinking like, I don't know, I'm some like, I don't know, like terrorist or something. I'm literally just like trying to check it out, see what's up. I don't know. And so they check me, and then I think they went back out to check the vehicle like a second time. And then they come back in, and then I have to go into literally like an interrogation room with the two. And then they start like asking me more questions about like whatever, like I guess the stuff that I have in there. And they're like, "Oh, why do you have these plates in there?" And it was like plates from a different state that I lived in. That was like, um, what do you call it? Like an old plate that I had or whatever. And yeah, I was just like, yeah, I just used to live there, whatever. And then they were like, "Oh, why do you have, you know, this or whatever it was?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And so they asked me about like my vehicle. "Oh, why do you have a dent here?" You know what I mean? And it's like, "Oh, on your computer, why is that there? Why is there like that there?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, just that." And then he's like, "Oh, what kind of data do you have on your computer?" And I was like, "Oh, just like work stuff." It's like, what are you trying to insinuate here, dude? Like, jeez. Um, and then the girl, this was the funniest part, dude. The girl, it was like a female cop or whatever, and so like, oh, this was gold. This was gold. This was just absolute gold. So, oh, yeah. Okay, so when I'm in the interrogation room, this girl asked me like about the work I do or whatever. She's like, "Oh, what kind of work do you do?" And I'm like telling her, "Oh, I'm like doing this, and you know, I'm full remote and whatever. And yeah, and she's like, oh, like, do you have a degree or whatever? I was like, oh no, I don't really have that. I was like, oh, like, you know, whatever. How'd you do this, that, and the other? And then like she just kept asking so many questions, like the other cop or whatever was like looking at her. At one point he looked at her because she like asked another question. It's like this question is like totally like not related to like anything that's going on. It's like literally like a question like, oh, so how'd you get into that, like, kind of question. It's like, oh, it's like literally like spare me, dude. Like at this point it's like the female cop is like basically like asking questions like how do I get into what he does? You know, this guy's like traveling to different countries, you know, working remotely. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how do I do what he does instead of like searching like kids or whatever, you know, for like drugs that just aren't there. And so I just thought that part was hilarious. And I get that from time to time. Like people, they're like, oh, wow, like, you know, what you do is so cool. Wow. Like, oh, and you never went to college. Oh, my. Oh. But then it's like, yeah, yeah, in the interrogation room though, bro. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break, dude. And so the other part, when I was getting patted down and like had to empty my pockets and stuff, oh, they were asking about like my personal situation. They were like, you know, oh, who are you going to visit? And I was like, no one. Like, I don't know anyone in Canada. You know, like, I'm not going to visit anyone, which is like super like sad and mortifying to say. Like, no, I don't know anyone in Canada. I'm just going, you know, like, pff. And then they're like, oh, like, you know, do you live alone? The lady cop asked me, do you live alone? And I just like, like a part of me like just died inside. Like my tone of voice, I was like, yeah. It was just like getting put on blast of how much of an inkwell I am, literally. Like, oh, do you live alone? It's like, yeah. And then I feel like when she heard that, she was like, okay, okay. She was like, okay, like, like she was literally like, okay, I'm good. To the other cop, and I was like, oh man, it's so over. Like, geez, like I feel like the cop had like pity on me. She's like, this guy gets zero bitches. He's literally going to another country, knows no one, just to like see how things go. And that was just so mortifying. I literally wanted to like cry in that room. Obviously, I held it together, but it was like, geez, like literally like publicly shaming me in that room. I mean, no one was really there. There was like the other officers and stuff, but like, man, it was just like putting me on blast for being an inkwell. It was just like very mortifying and embarrassing. And you know, I mean, that's not the end of the world. It's not that big a deal. Um, But I would say like one of the worst parts of it is like the whole time the crazy dude, when I was talking to him, like he kept threatening to like, oh, you know, actually more towards the end, I would say, he was like threatening me like, oh, you know, I could put you in jail and it's $100,000 fine. You're lying. I caught you lying, and you know, and it's like, dude, like I don't know what's going on, like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not breaking any laws. I'm just trying to like be a tourist. I don't really know how it works, you know? But he just wasn't having it, you know? I swear, like, he was literally just doing this for his own personal enjoyment and entertainment, just to like berate me. And he was literally gaslighting me so hard. And it's like, you know, you're basically like torturing me at this point. Like, you're literally like gaslighting me, saying like I'm lying when it's like, I just didn't really understand like what you wanted me to say. Like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh no, you said this, and it's like, okay, you're setting me up for failure though, like the way that you're asking these questions, and it's all on purpose. Um, you know, and so yeah, it was just that was terrifying for sure. And then he literally, this guy literally like takes a jab. That's how I know it was like a big part of what he was doing was literally just like for his own personal enjoyment, like satisfaction of just like making fun of me for like being a loser and having to like go to another country because I don't have any friends, don't know anyone, and live alone. Like I know he was like getting enjoyment out of it because like towards after the interrogation, um he obviously like watched the tape or something like that. Um or if he didn't like watch it, like they told him like about everything or something like that. And yeah, so he was like, "Oh, I know how you were acting in there versus how you've been talking to me, and it's all adding up." And it's like, what? Like, dude, like, get off your high horse. Just like be straight up. Like, you're not making any sense. First off, and second off, you're just confusing me and just trying to gaslight me. But anyway, so what was I gonna say? He was like, "Oh yeah," he was taking a jab at me, and he was like, "Oh, it's all adding up," and you know, you've been acting and every time I asked you a question, you've been so vague, and but in there, you know, you opened up, and just when you were talking to them, and I don't know if it was like if he basically what he said was like, I don't know if you had social anxiety or if you had a mental disability. You know, we thought maybe you had a mental disability, so we checked your vehicle for like pills or whatever. And like I was like, bro, what? I was like, what are you saying? Like, I'm just I don't know what's going on here, dude. I'm just trying to go to another country. Like, you're making me sound insane. Literally, like, and I was just like blown away that he was like, oh, you know, thought you like were like taking pills. We didn't see any proof of that in there. And he's like still insinuating that like I'm on meds or something. And I swear to God, I mean, it's been a day since this happened, but I swear to God, I can remember him like smirking at my like response of just like shock, like what? I swear I remember him like a little mild smirk or like a glimmer in his eye of like, yeah, that's right, you piece, you loser, you know, like, um, and he was towards the end, that's for sure. When things were winding down, kind of after most of this stuff, he was definitely smiling and kind of being like, "Yeah, I got you, motherfucker," and it's like, dude, I literally just didn't understand the process, you know. And so yeah, he literally just like shat on me for literally like, "Oh, you have social anxiety," and I thought you were on meds. It's like what? It's insane. Like oh, like, what? And that was like just embarrassing and mortifying and like I mean I don't know. That was like just driving home, having to think about that, having like someone tell me that, like I don't know, man. That just didn't sit well. Like I mean, it's just difficult, you know, nowadays, like socially or whatever. But like I don't think that like I have like any sort of like I don't know like uh disorder or whatever like that or anything like that. But like man, like I don't know, man. Like that just kind of threw me through the loop because I mean times are kind of tough right now socially, so it's like damn, just hit me while I'm down, bro. And I swear like that's kind of just what everyone does, you know. Like I mean if you're not a woman, you know, like as a man I feel like if you're down then everyone's just gonna kick you and hit you while you're down, you know. If you're a man like and you're down, like everyone's just gonna kick you further down, you know. And I mean not even to like talk about this guy, but like that's like what you see with like Andrew Tate. Like he's in prison, everyone's just like shitting on him, you know. Just like because he's like bald or whatever and his hair grew out. It's like when a man is down, like you know what I mean, like all people want to do is just kick him down further. And that's been my experience like recently for sure. But like also like there like yeah I'm literally just trying to figure things out and he just wants to act like an insane person and tell me I'm on meds and I have social anxiety or something. um and yeah, I mean I feel like that's how people have been acting to me lately as well. Like you know, if I want to like just share something like, oh, I've been feeling this way, or you know, I've been kind of sad, or um, you know, I've had these suicidal thoughts, or um, you know, I'm just having trouble like in this way. Like, I feel like anytime you tell someone any of that, they either instantly or later on, they like put it in their back pocket sometimes for later, even. It's insane, you know, the psychopathy some people have. But yeah, I feel like every time I tell anything like that to someone, like they just use it against me and just kick me down further. Like, oh yeah, you're just depressed all the time, and oh, you know, oh woe is me, and you know, oh you're such a loser, and you know, like just oh just get over it, and it doesn't even matter, and like just like stuff like that, kind of reiterated over and over. And it's like, oh, you know, you used to be this way, now you're this way, and just getting mad at me for like just being a human, you know, just like having wants, and you know, I mean, like just being a human, man. Like I'm just like I'm just a human and just having some difficulties, and it's kind of weighing on me, man. And um, yeah, people just want to take that and use it against you and make you like literally subhuman. Like if you tell them like you've been sad, or depressed, or it's like you're having trouble like, you know, focusing, or like doing stuff, or staying motivated, or like just like going to work or anything like that, like, oh man, you better get ready, because they're literally going to treat you like subhuman garbage, like you're a loser piece of shit, like, you know, you're worthless basically, like to them. Like if you're not like doing well, if you're not making them laugh, if you're not like in a great mood, like people, not only do they not want you, if you're not like that, they want the opposite for you. They want you to do worse. They want to kick you down. They want to hold you down. They want to keep you in your suffering. I mean, that's really like people, you think that they're your friends, they're really not. Like they just kind of use you for whatever you're good at and just throw you away when you're not useful anymore. And that's just, I don't know, that's my experience, at least lately for sure. And I mean, yeah, there's been times in the past, I don't know, maybe I should talk more about stuff like that, but I've definitely been betrayed in the past. Yeah, I could definitely talk about that another time. Um, but yeah, they'll really just you know, and they'll hold it against you forever. You know, oh, like even when I'm feeling good, they're just gonna, you know, reiterate like how oh you're, you know, inkwell loser, depressed, and it's like, you know, even if I'm in a good mood, even if I'm like doing fine that day, you know, just trying to like vibe out or whatever, like it's just not even good anymore. You know, the seal has already been broken. There's kind of just no going back. So, just kind of a word of caution, honestly. Like people don't have your best interest at heart, and they don't care about you, and they will use you until you're not useful anymore. And um, yeah, if you think you can open up to people, you have to understand you can't. They're going to get tired of you. They're going to dislike you, and then they're actually going to attack you. They're going to literally attack you. Um, so I don't know. I mean, that's been my experience at least, and yeah, it is what it is, I guess. You know, it's just another reason why it's just even more difficult to like make friends. And what's the point? What's the point of opening up to people when it's like every time you do it, they just, you know, kind of just use it against you. I mean, it just gets kind of old after some amount of time. Like, how many more times, you know, am I gonna go through this? Like, is it really, is it really even like worthwhile to put trust in people anymore at this point? You know, I really don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure, but um, it's definitely not easy. So, But yeah, so that's kind of how that went down at the immigration office in Canada. I mean, it was just kind of crazy, you know, um, how all that happened. And yeah, I just didn't really know what I was getting in myself into. And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna let you off easy," and you read that thing beforehand, and I can put you in court. You have two options. You can go either way. You're not going to get in the country. Either you're going to have to wait 8 hours, or you can leave in 20 minutes. And I was like, "Well, yeah, obviously, I want to just leave, go back home." You know, and it's like, yeah. So I wasn't let in. So he forced me to leave the country and go back to America. Um, And yeah, basically, he said my only other option is like, I'm just gonna tell a lawyer all this, and you're gonna have to go to court. And it's like, okay, dude, I mean, that's just insane. Like, I don't want to do any of that. I'm just gonna go home. And then they put like a flag on my thing or whatever. And yeah, so I mean, I could still go back. And they said like, next time you come back, you're just gonna have like these things. And this is where he started like kind of being a little bit more nice, because like I think after they searched my stuff and um after the interrogation for sure, because he saw me kind of open up. I guess he saw like I'm not like insane or something, I don't know. He saw me kind of like tell some stories or whatever and like have more emotion in there, because like I was trying to like really come off like really like normal. And I mean, that sounds bad, obviously, but like I was just trying to like, like I didn't know what they wanted, so at that point it was just like trying to like kind of get on their good side, I suppose. Like, um, so I'd like kind of told the stories in more detail and gave gave more character to it and like kind of like laughed a little bit. And yeah, anyway, basically like towards the end, he's like, basically, you're gonna have to like go to court, or you can just leave now. I was like, okay, I'll just leave now. It's fine. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, and it's fine. This is like a learning lesson. And then he kind of just calmed down from there. And so basically, he then started like kind of teaching me. He's like, oh yeah, this happens all the time, and people, just right near the border come over 20 minutes away, and they go on like on and on about this. And it's like, dude, like, yeah, this happens all the time. Like, why? I don't understand why you weren't just chill. Could have just been chill. Could have just been chill. It happens all the time. All you had to do is, oh, you've never done this before. Oh, so here's what you're gonna need. 5 minute thing, right? It's like, oh, my bad. I don't have that actually. Or, let me think about it. I might be able to, produce the things that you need. But instead of that, he was like, interrogating me and berating me and gaslighting me like I'm an insane person. And so, that's just wonderful. And, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, like, even that is like a good learning lesson in a way, because, like, maybe other countries would do the same thing. I'm really not sure. Maybe they would be harsher. I really don't know. Um, or, like I said, maybe it was just his personal entertainment, which is very likely. Um, but yeah, so and actually, let's see. Let me pull these out, because maybe this will help if any of y'all are doing this. But yeah, I can come back anytime, like even today, like next day. I can just come back and do it again. But obviously, like it's such a far drive. Like I'm not gonna do that again. Like for a little bit at least. But yeah, so you have to have your, you know, and again, I looked this stuff up online, and I didn't see any of this stuff. Could have just been on their dang website, which would have been nice. But yeah, so I need some sort of evidence of employment, like pay stubs, or a letter from the employer, or employee employment ID. I need proof of foreign residence, so a recent rent receipt, a copy of a mortgage, a deed, utility bills. I need evidence of like financials or whatever, so like bank statements, savings, checking account, um, evidence of financial assistance if I don't have finances, I guess. If I'm a student, evidence of education ties. If I'm a citizen, evidence of citizenship. Income tax. I don't know what that is. Confirmed. Sufficient funds for intended trip. Oh yeah, he told me to literally pull my phone. He's like, "Oh, do you do online banking?" I was like, well, "Yeah, I guess, yeah." He's like, "Pull your phone out and leave it on the table." It's being such a hard ass about it. And then I was like, "Oh, trying to log in on my Face ID." It's like, bro, I can't even log into Face ID when it's on the table. It's like, "Oh, put it back on the table." It's like, this guy is insane. It's like, "Oh, you didn't even do it. You didn't even do the Face ID." And it's like, dude, like, come on, dude. Like, but yeah, so and then it turned out, I didn't have the internet anyway, so I was like, oh, like I don't have internet here, which is like so obvious. And again, like, oh, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. It's like, yeah, you already know I don't have internet. You know what I mean? Like, because, yeah, I mean, my phone's not going to work in another country, right? Or I guess maybe some do, or whatever, if you have international like LTE or something. I don't even know, but yeah, I didn't, so my phone didn't work, and I was like, oh, like I don't have internet, I don't know. I didn't even ask for Wi-Fi because at that point it was just like, look, the ball's in your court, bro. Like, I don't even know. You know what I mean? I feel like, and the finances at that point, it seemed like literally a game. Like, this is just a game. I don't even know what you're getting at this point. And so, yeah, he's like, how much money do you have? How many bank accounts do you have? And I was like, dude, I don't know. He's like, how much money do you have? And I like told him a number. And it's like, show me right now. And so I pull it out, and then I was like unable to show him. So you have to have evidence of finances, sufficient funds for the trip, whether in cash or other. And then the main thing is like you need a destination in Canada, which is like a address, telephone numbers, names of relatives or friends. Which again, I didn't have any of that because I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a hotel. So I guess that looks pretty bad. And then also this other thing is like evidence of travel slash health insurance, which I never heard of that. But I guess you need some sort of health insurance that covers you in a different country. So yeah, I mean, I guess if y'all ever think about doing it, just like keep that in mind. That was the list I just read off every item, but obviously you can like look it up. It's called a applicant traveler slash applicant for admission. Um, and then this other thing had to do with like business, so it was like business refusal letter. Um, which honestly, it's like I'm not even gonna go over this or whatever. I guess if you guys really want me to, I can, but I'm not even reading this. Um, I don't think I really qualify for that. I mean, I don't think it's relevant, so I'm not even gonna read it. It's fine. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how that went. It's like totally like a big fail of a Geomax, like total failure Geomax, and I mean it was just very mortifying and like very embarrassing and like also very scary because he kept threatening to literally lock me up in jail, pay $100,000 fee. So yeah, I mean, my whole life doing this literally could have completely changed my whole life as well. So just something to keep in mind if y'all are also going to try this out. It definitely apparently can be risky to just not know what you're doing. I mean, really, dude, like insane. But yeah, I guess that's how it is. I don't know. Um, so yeah, I mean that's how that went. On the drive back, long ass drive back, by the way. I mean it was just like I was just sitting in there and I was like, dang, like I literally have like no one. I feel like I can't tell anyone about this, and I mean it's just like, dude, I don't know, man. I mean like living with like no friends at this point, like this is literally like the only place I feel like I can even like talk about something like this anymore at this point. Like all my friends pretty much have deserted me because I was just like super depressed and like suicidal. Um, and they got tired of hearing about it. So I don't have anyone to tell this stuff to anymore. So I'm just saying it here. And um, yeah, I mean, it was just like very difficult, you know, to think about like being a total Geomax failure. Um, on the way back. So I was feeling pretty shitty, and then the whole day today I was feeling pretty shitty and just like wanted to like just lay in bed and do nothing. and just like kind of just not be there, and it's just difficult, man. I suppose, and I guess I don't know. I'm supposed to keep working out, and I don't know, man. It's just uh, I mean, how much longer? How much longer do I have to endure this this like torture? You know, like that's what it feels like. Life just feels like endless torture. Like, how much longer do I have to endure this? Like, um, is there is there any end to this torture? Is there ever any end to this? Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I really have like good experiences anymore. You know, for the most part, and I already passed like my prime or whatever. Like, my late teen, early 20s are gone. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much downhill from here, and it's already been shit. And I didn't really have a fun phase anyway, so I missed out. So, yeah, I don't know what you really do with that, but it wouldn't be so bad if I had like at least like a friend group, and it definitely wouldn't be so bad if I had a girlfriend, and it wouldn't even be so bad if like my family was closer. Yeah, so pretty much don't have anyone, so I just have YouTube, so that's great, and that's the story. Failed Geomax. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna try it again. I think he was like kind of BSing me as far as like putting me in jail or whatever. It was like insane. This guy was saying like I didn't break any laws, dude. I just didn't have the documents to like get in the country. Like, give me a break here, dude. Like, you're insane. Like, I'm just trying to be a tourist in your country, and you're like talking about arresting me. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. I had never heard anything like that. And these YouTube videos did not go over this at all. I mean, look, I'm not trying to like talk crazy or anything, but like, I mean, this whole like inkwell thing, the black pill thing about, just life sucking more, like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. You know, was it just destiny that it happened to me? I don't know, man. But either way, I tried and I failed, and I'll probably try again, and it should be okay the next time just because I'll have all those documents prepped. But I'll probably talk about it, see what happens, and yeah, probably pick some landmarks or something. I don't know. Figure out, find someone to meet. I don't know. I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that happened. I'm just glad I got to share the story. Um, it's been a really rough day, man. You know, because having to deal with that failure, it's just another, roadblock in the way of like me like being able to enjoy my life, and it just seems far away. Um, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how things unfold.